You know how it seems like some people had it all figured out? They probably didn't. I was lucky to have a computer at home since the year 2000, but knowing how it was built or how the apps work never interested me. The most uncommon thing I did with a computer was designing covers for my pirated video games. Doing UI UX ahead of its time. And some beautiful PowerPoint presentations. I recall creating one that functioned exactly like a website, but I never made the connection at the time. I had excellent grades at school, but mostly because, let's just say, the fear of disappointing Albanian parents. But those grades convinced my family to support my wish to study abroad and got me accepted by a top university in the United States. My family was a middle-class one. They were far from being rich, but they believed in me and even went to debt just to cover my expenses. My father opened a small currency exchange store instead of preparing for retirement from the military. And the major I chose? Advertising. Simply because I thought I was good at graphic design. I wasn't. During the second semester, I picked Introduction to Programming as an elective class, and my life changed forever. I loved that class so much that I decided to switch majors in my sophomore year. Little did I know how tough computer science will be. My classmates had been programming since high school, whereas I only started coding when I was 19. I wasn't the brightest student in class, but I guess I had something that others didn't: persistence. I remember one night I was programming in my room while my roommates were having a huge party in the other room. My first experience with web development was in the summer of 2011. I volunteered to cover the front end for a class project, and in my free time, I started experimenting with Facebook page tabs and later on Facebook apps. By the time I graduated, I had built 2 fully functional Facebook apps just for fun. The first one was Suggest to Friends, an app that once installed on a page allowed each visitor to invite all their friends to like that page with a single click. That was my first real startup. I monetized it through ads and paid plans with advanced options. It became viral very quickly and a good source of revenue. The second app, called MemeGen, allowed you to generate memes on the go and post them on Facebook, but I barely monetized it. After graduation, I started working full-time as a developer at a small startup in Houston and continued to maintain my apps on the side. My brother, who had recently opened his travel agency, asked for an app to help him schedule his Facebook posts. And that's how the idea of Publer, short for publisher, was born. A simple Facebook scheduler. But I dreamed it to be as powerful and as fast as a superhero. I built the first prototype of Publer during the Thanksgiving break of 2012 using PHP, MySQL, HTML, CSS, and a bit of jQuery. It had a simple login with Facebook screen, and you could only schedule text posts without even seeing what you had in the queue. The first paying customer arrived 6 months after the paid plan was launched. I never marketed it properly, yet it found traction, probably thanks to my other apps. I worked on adding new features non-stop as soon as I got home from work, including weekends. I would stay up until 2 or 3 in the morning, sleep for a few hours, and then force myself to wake up for work with a lot of coffee. After 2 years straight, my body couldn't keep up. It broke down. Heartburn, insomnia, anxiety, and high blood pressure. I had to make a choice, so I kept my full-time job, quit Publer and the other side projects, and coffee, and refunded those few customers. My health got better, but my happiness didn't. A professor's birthday wish reminded me of the spark I had in my entrepreneurship class. So on my 25th birthday, I bought a one-way ticket home to Albania. A few months later, with around $60,000 saved, mostly through my apps, I moved back in with my parents to give Publer, the only serious app, a real shot. With all the time in the world, I gave Publer a proper website, a blog, and built the ambassador program, which is still one of our main organic growth channels today. By spying on what my competitors were missing, I built some of Publer's most notable features: bulk scheduling, CSV import, auto-scheduling, watermarking, and signatures. After 2 years of rebuilding, Publer was now making around $2,500 to $3,500 per month, and I barely had any living expenses. My father, seeing me work from all sorts of places, managed to get a good deal on a small office. I think he was just tired of me working from his exchange store and keeping it open past business hours. The new office somehow forced me to hire more people and expand. Things were looking really bright, and then Together with my new team of 3 developers, we had just started rewriting Publer from scratch, this time using Ruby on Rails, Postgres, Mongo and React. I knew it would slow down growth, but it was a necessary sacrifice for the long term. The old code I had written was pure spaghetti, unmaintainable. We were heading out for lunch one day when I saw cups outside my father's currency exchange store. A major fraud had just happened. 150,000 euros stolen. Money that wasn't his, nor money that we had. I tried to comfort him, gave him all my savings. After all, he paid for my education. Publer was doing great, I just needed time to cover the entire loss. But that wasn't enough. Or maybe I should have tried harder. He turned to drinking and blaming himself day after day after day. The year 2018. My father was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer and given only a few months to live. Cambridge Analytica got exposed and Facebook suspended part of our app for 6 months. Out of nowhere, I was facing both a dying father and a dying dream. I never told the team what was going on, not my personal struggles, nor that our finances were collapsing. In just weeks, we lost half of our customers to competitors who, for some reason, weren't affected by Facebook's restrictions. I felt terrible for the team. They had done such an amazing job. Within months, they rebuilt everything I had created over the years. Publer now had a modern dashboard and supported LinkedIn and Twitter. But it didn't help. Nothing we tried worked. Even after Facebook reinstated our app, the lost customers never returned. One after another, I lost the entire team and was back to being on my own. I don't blame them for leaving, it was probably the best for everyone. I was barely making ends meet. Meanwhile, I was borrowing money from friends to cover my father's medical bills and debt. A big thank you to everyone who helped, you know who you are, and I still, at this morally, owe you. I tried raising funds and awareness from Publer through competitions and pitch events, but every single one ended with rejection. I was desperate. I even started seeking comfort from strangers on the internet. Maybe those who mocked me for leaving the United States were right after all. I was close to giving up, looking for jobs or ways to move back to the US. But then I thought of my father. If a man cursed with a death sentence who had lost his life savings, was drowned into debt and chemicals, still found the strength to turn his life around, fight cancer for years despite the hopeless prognosis, go to work every single day, smile at customers, enjoy life to the fullest, and ask me if I and Publer were doing fine, I had absolutely no reason to complain. No one was going to save Publer but me, so I worked day and night. This time, I stopped thinking like a technical founder and started acting like a business one. First, I set up infrastructure to keep users informed about product updates through in-app notifications and email. On top of the affiliate program, I introduced discounts for customers who left an online review. Note this one down. I put my insecurities aside and started building my personal brand, at least on LinkedIn. My goal was simple: post twice a week no matter what. Lessons, thoughts, product updates, tips. After every new feature, I got in front of the camera. I became the guy who does videos on LinkedIn. Were strangers making fun of me? Of course. Were friends teasing my accent? They still are. But it worked. I launched analytics, introduced workspaces, added post customization when cross-posting to multiple social networks, added mentions, Google Business integrations, post recycling, and most importantly, people were noticing. As soon as I saw growth, I made a bold move. I took a loan of 50,000 euros to hire again, even though my family was still deep in debt. This is what I sent my father after finally reaching break-even. We survived the valley of death. He didn't. He passed away a few days after this message. I lost my father, and Publer lost the co-founder it never had. On my second hiring attempt, thanks to a video that went viral on LinkedIn, I finally expanded beyond technical roles, and from that point, I decided to become a better leader. Since 2020, I have shared Publer's finances with the team every single month. Good or bad, they deserve to know. I conduct performance reviews and give raises when earned every 3 months. And if company-wide goals are achieved, 20% of our quarterly profits go out as bonuses. Our roadmaps used to be yearly, but they always ended up unrealistic. So we switched to quarterly planning instead. Shorter goals, faster wins. In February of 2020, an AppSumo representative reached out wanting to partner with Publer. For context, AppSumo is a marketplace that helps startups reach new users by offering lifetime deals on their software. Funny enough, I had reached out to them a year earlier, but they ignored me. What changed their mind were the reviews they saw on Capterra. Remember how I incentivized reviews? Through AppSumo, we offered our highest tier plan for a one-time payment of $39, from which we only kept a small percentage. I know, it sounds like a terrible deal, a huge devaluation of the product, but at that point I had nothing to lose. We ran the campaign for 3 months and everyone fell in love with the product and our support. That same year, I agreed to another limited lifetime deal for Black Friday. Between both campaigns, we made $250,000 in revenue. But the money wasn't the biggest win, brand awareness was. For the first time, people who weren't us were talking about Publer. That's when I went all in and reinvested every cent from AppSumo back into the product. Still in debt and still paying myself the bare minimum. With the new hires, we gave Publer a proper brand identity, launched a new website, blog, help center, and a feedback page to help prioritize feature requests. We redesigned the dashboard to match the new brand, integrated with Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, WordPress, and Telegram. We added the calendar view, the media library, and the link in bio feature for Instagram accounts. To make Publer more accessible, we built browser extensions from Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Edge, and released a mobile app for both Android and iOS. After all these updates, we revisited our plans and increased our prices, but only for new customers. Our number one policy has always been to never charge existing customers more or give them less than what they signed up for. I did make one mistake though. I tried to diversify too soon. While Publer was still maturing, I led 2 full-time developers in building Kibo, a unified inbox meant to be a separate product. But neither Publer nor Kibo were where I wanted them to be. So after a year of juggling both, I made a tough call. I pulled the plug on Kibo and focused entirely on Publer. By the end of 2022, we were on a track to reach $1 million in annual recurring revenue. On a personal level, I was finally debt-free and earning a fair salary for the first time in 7 years. Things were looking bright again. And then Elon Musk entered the scene by buying Twitter. Rebranding it to X was just the tip of the iceberg. April 2023, we were asked to pay $42,000 per month for API access if we wanted to keep supporting X at the same level. I could have taken the easy route and dropped X like many competitors did, but then we'll never become a true leader in the social media management space. At the time, around $20,000 of our monthly revenue came from customers using X. Between saving $22K and losing $20K, I chose the latter. And as if that wasn't enough, I had just hired more people across every department and started investing in bigger offices. We had grown to over 20 people, and to improve management, I introduced hierarchies and department heads. I even hired an external assistant to help me out. Without realizing it, we had become corporate. Things started moving slowly and expensively. I was pouring money into paid ads, SEO content, and affiliate marketing all at once. In 2023, we only launched a basic AI assistant, introduced the client role and internal notes, integrated with TikTok and Mastodon, and made a few small improvements. Dark mode was the highlight of the tier, and let's be honest, not exactly a game changer. Love him or hate him, Elon and his absorbed API fees brought me back to earth. Our finances were fragile. We needed to grow revenue fast. And I learned the hard way that more people don't always mean more work done. So I had to undo everything. I let go a lot of people, removed hierarchies, and stopped all paid marketing. Despite earning $1.5 million in 2023, we ended the year with a $140,000 loss. But all those tough choices finally started to pay off in 2024. Our balance sheet improved and the product evolved faster than ever. We upgraded analytics, introduced hashtag and competitor analysis, integrated with Threads and Blue Sky, bringing our total supported platforms to 13. We unified the calendar and posts tabs and launched the Explore tab. The mobile app finally caught up with the web version and began generating direct revenue through in-app purchases. With a more stable product and healthier finances, I returned to diversification. We started building Linky, a standalone link in bio platform that will eventually replace Publer's current feature. But building isn't enough. Marketing-wise, I finally acquired the publer.com domain and asked the team to launch a new website, one with more landing pages and independent of developers. Thank you, Framer. We also set up automated email flows to fully onboard new customers. And after years of manually changing customer emails, disabling 2FA or applying discounts, I built integrations so any support agent could handle those directly. Thank you, Chris. With 24/5 customer support coverage, I had more time to focus on growth. I decided to be more aggressive with conversions. Letting customers pause their subscription indefinitely and hoping they will return was a recipe for disaster. We were storing data and using resources for nearly 4,000 post customers who had probably forgotten about us. So instead, plans can now be paused for only 1, 2 or 3 months, after which they will automatically reactivate. And instead of hiding upgrades under settings billing, I brought upgrade prompts right where customers needed them. SEO-wise, we spent the last quarter of 2024 building free functional tools that brought millions of visitors to our website and millions of installs at a fraction of traditional marketing costs. By the end of 2024, we had generated $2 million in sales and a 40% increase year over year, and we were profitable once again. Fast forward to this year, beyond new integrations and more post options like polls or Facebook text posts with backgrounds, we began expanding into new markets. Besides English, Publer now speaks German, Italian, Spanish, French, and of course, Albanian. We're also opening up automation marketers. By launching our API, anyone with technical skills can build automations on top of Publer. We're integrating with Zapier, Make, Publi, and more to offer true no-code workflows. And Publer's AI assistant, it now speaks your voice and learns from your post performance over time. Meanwhile, Linky has evolved beautifully and is almost ready to integrate with Publer, and maybe even other social media tools that have APIs. By the way, you can still grab a lifetime deal for Linky at linky.bio before the end of the year. Soon, you'll be able to manage multiple Linky pages from the same account. 2025 isn't over yet, but at this pace we should be surpassing the $3 million mark. And as you know, things were looking really bright, and then... If I could go back, I would build in public since day one. And not just on LinkedIn. Waiting 7 years to show the world who's behind the product you're trying to sell is suicidal. What people loved the most about Publer in the early days was the composer. It was straight to the point. Despite all the new features added throughout the years, we have always strived to keep the composer as simple as possible. A lot of intuition and a few paying customers are always a good combo to know if you have the right product. As long as you have one paying customer who has been with you for more than a month and whom you do not personally know, keep going. It took me months, probably years, without revenue. I was either working a full-time job and building apps on the side, or living with my parents until I was 31. Already covered this part, but also worth adding. You need to focus entirely on what I consider the golden triangle. Your product, your team, and your customers. Everyone else outside this triangle? Well, they can So far, I have only hired through LinkedIn. Intuition never fails. All the bad few hires I've had were because I didn't listen to my inner voice. I also put a lot of emphasis on side projects. They're always a great indicator of someone who works hard and thinks outside the box. For salaries, I conduct market research and then set a range above market for every role that I hire. The range is obviously included in the job application. The interview then helps me determine what part of the range to offer to the candidate. Performance evaluations are done every 3 months. And if I'm satisfied, the base salary is increased by 5%. This way, an outstanding employee will have an annual salary increase of more than 20%. 2 are the main metrics I keep track of: monthly cash flow, revenue, expenses, and profit; weekly customer flow, how many paying customers we got the previous week, how many did we lose, how many have a failed or paused subscription, how many are actively paying. I would say the X API fee made me hungrier than ever. Some ugly truths. There's no such thing as work-life balance. Every day is a working day. Every holiday is a regular day. Every hour is a business hour. There's no such thing as passive income. You stop, you die. You need to have an incredible self-control not to go on a spending spree as soon as you see a lot of money in the bank. This has been my annual salary for the past 10 years. My golden formula? 6% of the next annual recurring revenue target as long as it's over $50,000. I love marketing, but not as much as I love building. While I will continue to be in charge, prioritizing what we build, considering new features, sharing updates, and overseeing day-to-day operations, I will no longer write code for Publer. Instead, I want to focus on finally launching and building Kibo to eventually solve two main pain points we have at Publer: monitoring social channels for new comments, mentions, messages, and reviews, and responding them. This is also a pain on the personal level. Understanding where the customers are coming from. I believe a customer journey from acquisition to support to sales should be part of the same CRM. Imagine a platform that shows you why customers chose you and lets you reach out to them with product updates or support answers, regardless of the communication channel they use. But for Kibo, I want to do it differently. I want to embrace AI at every step of the business, not just the coding. I believe that in 5 years, the most successful tech startups will look like this. And my ultimate goal is to build a company with small teams, each running a different product. But before I jump into the next adventure, I want to take a short break from 13 years of non-stop work. Thank you for watching and see you soon.